The time has come once again to speak as witches and wizards and spirits do. I'm Daniel Dubois,
And I'm Michaela Gaffinstone.
and we're your hosts for the Think Like a Wizard podcast. Welcome to Season 6, Episode 5, The Morrigan and the Lord of Crows.
We went in
All
an
right.
interesting direction this week.
Yeah. You want to go first?
No.
All right. So my week has both been, it has been eye-opening, but it has been just sitting around and letting the spell of me and the Lord of Crows cast. What do you call it? Cook. There was another word I was looking for, but I'm going to use cook. Cook. So we cast it on Sunday, and then it's pretty much taken all week. But opening my eyes as saying that was that, so he and I have been bound at the eyes for the whole week.
Interesting.
Yeah, and part of the spell, or yeah, a part of the spell was to show the world how I viewed Kyla's dog. So it was to open the eyes of the world. And I was
Oh,
used to model that. That's why his
okay.
eyes are connected to my eyes. I don't mean specifically the world's going to look at things as I do. So, okay. So I had said, right, showing the world through my eyes, but not as in like literally my view of the world, but my perspective of the world through having wizard eyes.
Hmm.
So basically, the spell encourages everyone else to have wizard eyes if you're ready to handle it. Like if you're, I don't know what the criteria is for that one. I'll be honest with you. Thought I had it there for a second, but if you got it, you got it. If you don't, you don't. If you're not ready, you're not ready. But that was my work this week, and it kind of had to brew for a bit. I said cook before, but now it had to brew for a bit. So, I mean, I almost felt a little bit useless this week, but then realizing like, okay, but you have to let things go at their time.
Uh-huh.
Can't just force them to happen. So,
That also ties in with what we've been saying the last
mm,
couple of weeks of letting go of the need for an outcome,
right.
right? Not just what the outcome is, but even the need for an outcome. It's like, okay, sometimes it just isn't going to happen. Like, not the way you want and not the way at all. Just like, no. And that's hard because we,
It
we,
is.
we're we're told to keep doing, right? And
Mm-hmm.
if you're not doing something, then it feels like somebody's going to tell you you're lazy or something's going to happen that we don't want. So we're kind of wired from childhood to need to do something. And
Right.
that
That was
probably
actually,
was the lesson.
yeah. Well, and that is the lesson I took this week. Like, I pulled some cards, and that was always the reminder of just let it be, let things be as they are.
Hmm.
Do by not doing, like was the quote, the best quote I got this week. Do by
Do
not
by
doing.
not doing. Yeah, yeah. And sometimes, the cliche of less is more is true.
Hmm.
Still hard to sit with though,
Yeah.
I think.
I
I
will
find
say though, I did come to the learning understanding of so my three sisters deck, right? I gave one to Patrick, I gave one to his mother, my younger sister, and then the older sister card deck is sitting in the
Mhm.
car. It's the car deck now.
Okay.
Because I was trying to think, well, it doesn't really want to hang out with me in the house anymore. So I thought, does it want to go somewhere? Does it want to go to someone else? And I'm sitting trying to figure it out. but I already knew it. It already basically told me I'm the card deck. And I fought it a
Hey,
little bit,
see,
thinking it must want to go somewhere. Go ahead.
you're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's your answer is it's just this is where I want to be.
Yeah. So I left it in the car and everything's been good.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I don't know. There's so much going on right now that maybe some
Yeah.
things just need to be
Yeah.
and not have anything done to them or have explanations happen.
Right. Well,
Um,
that's the thing, right? Like, and I guess that's my, we'll call it my bad, I guess. It wanted to be in the car because it wants to be when you're out and about and you need something, it wants to be that card deck. It wants to be that
hmm,
deck.
okay. The word I got as you were searching was conduit. I don't know if that fits, but
Well, it would be the conduit when I'm out and about.
right. That was what I got while
Yeah.
you were saying that.
So that's the, yeah. So I just said, okay. And now everything feels peaceful.
Very cool. I would like some of that over this
Yeah.
side.
I mean, it
So
feels
peace
peaceful
would be
along
good.
with that thing. And I mean, interestingly enough, my dreams have been interesting. Like, I mean, they're just a culmination of stuff that have been happening before. But it's like, and I think I've said this before, right? I have nightmares and my body reacts to them like they're nightmares, but I don't. Like, but my psyche doesn't. Like, I'm dreaming and it's like, okay, this is supposed to be a nightmare. And that's really a scary thing, but I'm going to confront it anyways and deal with it instead of trying to run away or being afraid of it. I'm just going to deal with whatever that is. And then I still wake up and my body still does the reactions, but it's like, yep, it is what it is. My
Hmm.
body treated it what it is. So whatever mechanism that nightmares use in your brain still went through, but I didn't face it that way in the dream space.
Okay. Interesting. Well, I've had the Morrigan
Mm.
in uh in situ this week. She's been around. And it's interesting with the Morrigan and Hecate both have three faces, right? Hecate is the young woman, the maiden, and the crone, or the young woman, the
Maiden, the
mother,
mother
and
of
the
the
crone.
crone.
Yeah, the mother and the crone. You know what I meant.
Yep,
um,
I did.
and then you've got the Morrigan, who is also triple, but she's war, chaos, and fate. So yeah, and I've definitely had some significant chaos happening this week. Anybody that's been listening to us for a while will recognize that that usually seems to be my lot.
Mm.
Fire and chaos are my stuff, my thing. And I could happily put the chaos down, but apparently it doesn't want to put me down.
Mm.
So the Morrigan is also a master of disguise, a shapeshifter, and the most common representation is Raven, and that's one that I see, that's one I speak to because, I really like crows and ravens. But the Raven, of course, is considered fate, death, otherworldly,
Mm.
transition to the other world, etc. Not too far off from some aspects of Hecate. So kind
Right.
of interesting because she's at the crossroads of life and death and transition. And she can light your way or not. I don't think Morrigan's going to be lighting anything, but she's inspiration and fear is something Morrigan brings to us, and I think that's happening a lot these days. I don't know if the Morrigan came to me because it was already a time of inspiration and fear, or if she wanted a deeper level recognized. Don't know.
Mm.
Don't know. I've honestly had so much going on. I haven't had too much time to delve into it too much, to just sit quietly. I'm also working with someone on some spiritual things, and my client and I are working on Hecate. So that
Right.
may have muddied the waters just a little. Um, but yeah, there's feelings of fear and inspiration from that fear. If that's coming up for anyone, You might want to have a little look into the Morrigan because that's something she brings. And of
Yeah.
course, destruction and rebirth,
Hmm.
as all dark mothers do.
Yes, that's true. What was I going to say? So I didn't mention at the beginning of this, this is another situation like with Ohira. So before I worked with the Lord of Crows, I had a messenger crow first,
Okay.
and then we summoned the Lord of Crows, just like in the other with Ohira. And then the Lord of Crows and I cast the spell. But it's interesting because at least in my periphery, I know someone who seems to have benefited from the spell. Like I said, my mother has this thing of being afraid of talking to spirits and a lot of times talking herself out of it, even when she might have a communication. But she didn't do that this time out. She decided that if it's a message, it's a message. And now she's like, and I've even today she's still working on it, doing stuff. So I just wanted to say, like, I wasn't really trying to figure out if anyone was getting it because at this point it took me a while, but I'm like, okay, we're doing it, it's done, whatever, whoever benefits from it. It was interesting to see someone close to me seem
Uh-huh.
to have benefited from it.
Right. That's
So,
good. That's
yeah.
interesting though. And I'm glad your mom's moving forward.
Hmm. Well, it's interesting, right? Because right now I'm not filming, or right now I'm recording at the cottage because she's like doing her stuff and she's like going whole hog into what she's doing. So there's a lot of singing, there's a lot of working like that too. So
Nice.
she started writing music. Some of her music is being played by some local bands, and she's working on a new song. That was kind of the result of her work, of her spiritual work.
That's going to be interesting. I would
Yeah.
like to hear that when it's ready.
Hmm. Well,
Yeah.
she got the other ones recorded, but like nothing like she hasn't, she did actually file them with the appropriate copyright people. So she has two songs that are whatever copyrighted and stuff. But she stopped for a while because she was losing her connection to things. But now it's back
Oh,
and strong. So, and she's kind of on top of it. She's working with it
nice.
instead of hoping it works. She's working with it.
Okay. That's
So
very positive. That's empowered.
yeah. Oh, oh god, yeah, yeah. She's a glow there these days.
Nice. I like it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Seeing a lot of
So,
crows. A lot of crows are coming out from me into the
yes,
monitor of my computer.
I have lots of crows around here, and today we have high winds, very
Right.
high, and it's been high for probably 24 hours now. And the
Right.
crows love to play when it's really high wind. They are even higher up because, I'm at altitude and
Right.
they get really high up and they just play. Like you can see them having a rare old time moving from one level to the next current wise. And they just stay up for a very long time. They don't need to come down because the wind will just keep them there. Every now
Right.
and then they have to flap to not disappear to the next county, but otherwise,
Yeah.
if they're having fun, um, yeah, no, it's really interesting. But just like the crows, the Morrigan is it's mortality and death, but it's also she's bringing transformation. We're still
Right.
getting this really strong message of it's time to make a positive transformation out of the destruction of the old systems. What we
Right.
knew and thought was solid and safe and the systems that we all live by, we now know. I mean, you have to be clear on that by now. It's not true. The illusion
Right.
is shattered. It's like thousands and thousands of glass pieces. It's not true. And so the Morrigan is here to say, well, you know, shit's going down. It's time to decide what part of rebuilding you're in. And she brings some chaos.
Hmm.
Well, she's probably why I got her. you know.
Right. Yeah.
And she's Irish, as the listener may well know. She's all about Ireland, and the land referred to is Ireland.
Right.
Um, and I don't know if you have Irish ancestry, but an awful lot of
I
people
do.
do. Awful lot of people do, and my dad was Irish, so that's perhaps another connection. I don't know. And Ireland's certainly got a lot going on right now, but everybody does. So,
Yeah. I think in Canada it's hard to. There's a very heavy Gaelic presence, even if not necessarily specifically Irish. There's still that whole
yeah,
Gaelic subcult or that Gaelic group
hmm
having a
definitely.
big influence. Um, okay, so I just come to an understanding about something. So this episode is finishing the spell. And that's why I'm getting a lot of crows coming out of essentially the Lord of Crows and going into the screen. This is like with the Kali, where she put energy into the screen. So whoever's listening to this is probably going to receive something.
Those crows may be coming to play with the ones here because
Hmm.
the wind is calling.
Right. Because they're like just flowing.
Uh-huh. Well, that kind of works with what I got going on here
Hmm.
as well.
Well, and that makes sense, right? Because I was telling Michaela before we started recording that the Morrigan came up as a was presented to me as a concept when I was looking for who possibly could be the connection to the Lord of the Crows or this messenger crow I had. And so she was one of the options. But it's a lot of crows flying.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, and this is like so I guess a little bit of a magical lesson here. Magic works however the hell it wants to work. If it's embedded
Have
in a
that
packet
attitude.
of data, or
Mm-hmm.
if it's in water, or if it goes through the air, magic will propagate itself as it needs to propagate.
Yeah.
There's no real rules. I know we've said that before, but this is again a reminder. There's no real rules per se, or at least
I mean,
nothing that you could really describe to a person. There's probably something maybe on the spiritual level that there's rules, but there's no real rules to how to do it.
the rules.
Hmm.
There's no rule book for you to follow.
Right. Yes,
The
that's the best way to say
rules,
it.
the rules that exist are ones that simply will happen. They're not
Right.
something you can follow. They follow you.
Right.
So the rules will, it's like consequences. If you bang your head,
Yes.
it hurts. It's like that. It's just you don't have control over whether it comes or not. It's just there. And those are not rules as we typically understand rules,
Right.
right? We usually think rules, okay, I know this thing, therefore I do this thing, or therefore I say screw it and I don't. But it's a choice and it's a knowledge. The rules in magic are simply what they are,
Right.
and you may never know them. You don't have to know them. You need to know you and show up like as you want to, so that whatever rules you trigger in the magical world, they're ones you can handle.
Right.
That's basically it. And by the way, the Morrigan is also associated with Samhain or Halloween
Right.
this time of year. So um, again, this was not my choice. This was her choice. I didn't do the choosing.
Right. I'm actually glad you mentioned that because I had forgotten how to pronounce it.
Right.
I was
Yes, it
starting to
looks
fall
like
back on calling it Sam Hain again. It's
yes.
yeah.
It looks like Samhain for
Yeah.
anybody that's thinking, what did she just say? But it's
Mm,
pronounced Samhain
yeah.
or sewing, depending on your accent.
Right.
Um, yeah.
But you saying that brought up something. Okay, so this has been sitting on my head all week, and I was thinking maybe I should make a video about it or not. But So my whole brain was kind of going back and forth with this idea, is there a cost to magic? Is there a cost to learning magic? But there is no cost to learning magic was the message I kept getting. But what there are is consequences.
It
There are
depends, I think.
outcomes.
Yeah, it depends on how you define the word cost,
Right.
right? Um, are you going to suffer for it? Well, it depends on what you ask for.
Right.
You may have some consequences. Like when I asked earlier this year, I was looking for
Mm,
clarity, and by
mm,
gods, I got it. And the clarity didn't come easily. It
right.
was hard won, and I'm still recovering, I think, months later. Like it was big. But I hadn't been specific that I didn't want it to be that way. And as chaos and fire tend to hang out with me, I could really, in hindsight, I could predict that that's how it was going to go, right? So, is there a cost? So much depends on what you're doing and whether you're viewing what you're doing as transactional or not. Because if you're trying to do like that, going back to Catholics briefly,
Hmm.
forgive me, Father, for I have sinned, etc., etc.
Hmm.
I'll say my Hail Marys and then I'm good to go, right? Okay, cool. It doesn't work that way. So there isn't a get out of jail free card. There isn't a do this and I'll wipe it clean for you. So is there a cost? There is a consequence. Yeah, I think that's a good word. But just to clarify a little, doesn't mean you got a free pass.
Right. Well, because what I part of what was coming to me was because I know I'm getting pushed closer or more and more into right getting a full class going, a full on training going, you
Hmm.
know, for people. And I was trying to think like, is there a price to pay for being a wizard or for doing magic? And there's no price to pay. Like there's a consequence of the changes you make. It'll have change, it'll cause changes. There are like, you throw the stone in the pond, there's waves, and that'll
Well,
lead to
another
whatever
thing to
changes that.
consider, though, another thing to consider is while
Right,
you are spending time doing wizardy things
right,
and practicing magic, you don't have that same time for doing other things.
right.
Now, you could view that as a cost. It's
Hmm.
one that it doesn't register for you because you don't want to do the other things. But
Right.
if you did, if you were pulling yourself out of there,
Hmm.
then it would be perceived as a cost, right?
Right.
So it's perception of
Hmm.
that, yes, there's a consequence, it takes up space,
Hmm.
but it's not like you got to pay the piper kind of deal.
Right. Yeah. There's nothing like, yeah, like, because that's a big metaphor pushed in a lot of magical fiction now, that there's a consequence to your magic. Or I should say, there was some stories I had been reading that had that motive in it. And I think they went a whole, like, because it was, for those of you familiar with at least the MCU, anyways, Doctor Strange. Well, in his comic books, for the last few years, there's been a whole thing about the price of magic. That's not where I got this from,
Uh-huh.
but there was a whole thing with the price of magic. So when you do magic, there's a consequence to you. Well, actually, they said it in the movie too. Actually, the first movie.
Isn't that isn't
Yeah,
that a great way of stopping people from
yeah,
practicing magic? That's it's a limiter, right? They
right.
they are putting, I mentioned fear earlier on today.
Hmm.
Morrigan's like picking up her ears and looking
Yeah.
over, huh? What? And yeah, it's a way of putting fear. Like, yeah, we want to talk about magic in this movie. We want to play with it, but we
Hmm.
want to make sure other people don't, right? Let's not get people being powerful all over the place. Let's not
Right.
people have people getting in touch. So they put the fear, which is why, whenever somebody mentions witchcraft
Hmm.
and they're not of the practice, then they're typically going to say, "Oh, it's dark magic, it's black
Hmm.
mass, it's like we are confusing an awful lot of things here, but it's blood magic and ooh,
Hmm.
hexes and stuff like that. Sure, they exist. It's part of the deal if you need it, but it's by no means the focus of attention for most people. Like, we got
Right.
other things to do with our lives, you know? That's not it. It's healing, it's connecting with the land, it's connecting with things that are not artificial. And something
Hmm.
that came up a lot this week was the knowing that one of the reasons we're in a big mess right now as a species on this planet is because there is a layer of plastic, of artificial
Right.
between us and Gaia, between us and the land. And that is very, very problematic. It's disrupting, it's like a hormone disruption. It's disrupting systems, it's disrupting connection, and it's making people ill. They're thinking ill, they're feeling ill, their motivations are ill. Like, it's screwing us up as a species. And it's this layer of, you could view it as radiation, even. Like, it's that
Hmm.
toxic. And it covers the earth. We have screwed ourselves over royally. And, Mother Nature's fighting back, but she's fighting through all this plastic and stuff. And
Right.
meanwhile, we're sitting on top of the trash heap thinking we're in a good space and we're not.
Right. That has been a big thing for me since I started my Eat Like a Wizard experience because it's like the all this would have been a lot easier in nature because it's like then
Well, yeah.
I would have no choice. I'd have to follow the seasons
Hmm.
because that would just be how it is. And then I wouldn't have to worry about, GMOs or artificial ingredients or synthetic ingredients because they wouldn't exist. I would just be eating whatever is natural. I mean, yes, eating in nature has its own issues, but it's a lot easier to eat properly than it would be to than it
It's
is
more
not to.
clear cut,
Yeah, it's more clear
right?
cut. Yes.
Eat the wrong mushroom and you're
Mm,
done. You
right.
know, if you get stung by a nettle, take the dock leaf that's right next to
Mm,
it because they always grow together.
right.
Crush the dock leaf, rub the juice on where you got stung,
Mm,
and it'll take the sting away. This is literally nature gives you the problem and the cure side by side so often, so often. And you only need a very little because that means there's enough for everyone. If you
mm,
take just a very little, too much is toxic. I've
right.
mentioned foxgloves before.
Hmm.
Foxglove is a flower that grows in the UK all over the place. Like, you see it in hedges and it's everywhere. But the oil of foxglove is digitalis, which is a potent medication for heart failure. So, it regulates the system, it regulates the heartbeat. But too much is going to
Right.
over-regulate your heart. It's going to bump you off, right? So it's interesting that nature is just, yeah, I'll kill or cure you.
Mm,
Depends how much are you taking, right?
yeah.
How far are you going in? More is not better in
Right.
in that case, but in the world we live in right now, especially in the US, I mean, in Canada, it's not as bad as here. The food is so adulterated. It's like the science fiction replicators, it's not really food. It just kind of looks like the thing that we think it should look like. And as such, our bodies are trying to deal with this layer of plastic and radiation that covers the earth. And an
Right.
awful lot of it's in the US.
Well, I will say this. When I became a WellFit coach in 2022, there were a lot of foods available that are no longer available. There was, I mean, not like for the deepest part of the WellFit stuff, but like Hellman's mayonnaise didn't have sugar in it, but now it does. There's this Caesar dressing. I don't know if it's an American product or whatever, Lebanese Caesar dressing, and it didn't have sugar in it before. Now it has sugar in it. A lot of things got sugar added to it since like in 3 years.
And they may well come from the US then, because the US puts sugar in everything. Why? Because it triggers the brain to say, I want more. But that's so we're doing battle against that. And yeah, magic is all about revealing that to you. So is there a cost? Kind of. I mean, if you think you're ready for the clarity and you're not, that could be perceived as a cost
That's
because sometimes it's bloody uncomfortable.
and that was part of the theme I was following when I was thinking about it. Because like for a long time I had this issue I learned stuff and I made efforts to learn stuff, but I always, every time I learned it, I'd always be sad for a couple of weeks because it was like, this is something that separates me from people again. Like I used to have a
Right.
real issue with it. And it's like, now I can't look at the world the way they do. And then it just keep compiling and compiling and compiling. And then it's like these guys either have to follow me and do this or not because I don't like you, but I'm going to have a hell of a time hanging out with you people.
Thank you for the reminder. It has actually been a long time
Mm,
since I felt like I was looking at things the same way as other people. And
right,
it is wrenching because you feel like, oh no, I'm out of place. I'm out of place, I'm
right.
out of time. I'm like in the wrong space no matter where I am, and all
Mm,
those feelings come up. And I haven't felt that for quite a while because I've just kind of accepted that that's where I'm
right.
at. And it again, it makes things a bit easier when you can do that. So is that a cost? Yeah,
Well, that's
but
what I was going to
it's
say.
it's a perception, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a perception of a cost. It's one of the
And
things
the
I wanted to
cost,
get to.
like I wasn't remembering that
Mm,
cost. And now you've just said that. I'm like,
mm,
oh yeah, that is a thing. I have felt that cost before.
mhm. Like I was reminded of it because I'm thinking like currently politics, and it's like, oh my God, would you people stop? Like, yes, you're a conservative, you're a liberal, okay, but it doesn't matter. You still mostly believe in the same stuff. And if we put you two somewhere to have a drink or coffee or whatever, you're going to get along. It's going to be fine.
Not here.
Yeah,
There, yes,
because that's
maybe,
how it is
but
now,
not here.
right? Because it's
Yeah.
been stoked and like I used to love talking politics and I used to love talking religion, but somewhere down the line, everyone kind of got really entrenched in their sides. Instead of it being an actual discussion with
Hmm.
trade-off and people learning stuff, it became just entrenched.
We
And
have
so,
no critical
yeah,
thinking.
right. So
And
now I don't
that's
like having these discussions because it's like I don't have nothing to learn from you anymore. You're just so entrenched in your position that 3 seconds of the conversation, I've learned everything I need to know from you because you can't give me more because you don't have anything to give or you
right.
refuse to give.
No, I honestly think they don't have it. I mean, if
Right.
you remember back to the before the election in the US, I was asking people on both sides the same question. Tell me what is
Mm,
good about your person. Why should I vote for them? Please tell me why. Tell me what's good. And both sides yelled at me.
mm,
Both sides thought I was attacking, whereas I was actually asking a very
right,
simple question that I wanted a simple answer to. There was no hidden agenda there. Straight up, that was my question, and I wanted that answer. I never once got it from either
right,
side. I got varying degrees of abuse, and I got to say the right wing were far more abusive,
mm,
but the left was still vitriolic. Like
right,
they weren't sort of, oh, let me explain this to you. And as soon as you poke them in something that, they're going to espouse no matter what, um, because the whole Israel and
mm,
Jewish thing. I would ask both sides about that one because, frankly, the left are not showing up very well for
mm,
that. And the two things should be separate and distinct, but they're not for a lot of people, which means they don't understand what they're mad about,
right,
right? Because anti-Semitism is just it's Jewish people anywhere in the world, whether they're religious or not. Israel is a country, and they
right.
currently have somebody in charge who a lot of people don't like very much, just like the US has, right?
Well, and that's the big thing.
So,
It is. That's the big
you know,
thing.
would people come and attack the US because they don't like the president? I doubt it. Yet they feel free to go do that to
Mhm.
Israel, but then they also consider anybody Jewish to be a fair target.
Mm,
Okay, explain that to me. I would like somebody to tell me where the connections are because they're not. But, the left didn't deal very well with being poked in that, and the right, actually, they didn't deal very well with it either. So, we're in time now where there's so much separation, so many layers between us and what's really there that we need the magic of disintegration and rebirth.
right. Well, that's the thing, right? Because like even me, like politically, like I'm trying to grasp this idea, right? Because like I said, right, I usually consider myself a filthy leftist liberal, but I don't even know what that means anymore politically. Like, what does that even mean? Like in the current parlance, being right wing, being left wing, what does that even mean? Like, at best, I can think of is liberals are early adopters and conservatives are late adopters. That's the best I can come up with.
Yeah. Here, I don't think we even have those distinctions. Like, it's just one wants to lock people up and abuse them, and the other one doesn't. I think that's the biggest divider here. But
Right,
we've gone into a very weird state where none of it is how we thought it was. You know, the illusions are being broken down everywhere. What are we going to do with that? You know,
right,
it's there's a lot going on. So, you know, the Morrigan is she brings vivid dreams too.
right,
So now that she's up and very active and very awake and very aware, I think the listener may well recall some pretty vivid dreams. So a little piece of mind I would like to offer you right now is if you do dream, or if you think you may, then before you go to sleep, inform out loud, I would say is good. Just inform into the ether that you don't want help from anybody you don't know.
right,
And if you are looking for help, be specific about from whom, because there are spirits who are out there saying, oh, hey, you know what? That person needs some help with this dream because they need this experience in there. And they'll come and mess it up for you.
right,
And they're providing something. The question is, do you want it? So if you're prone to nightmares, you may want to be very clear that you don't want to be messed with. And you can say that before you go to sleep, and that should be protection enough. Now, the other thing
right.
is, if you want to enhance your vivid dreams, if you want to have stronger ones, then the herb mugwort is really useful. You can make a tea out of it if you like. I'm not a fan of the flavor myself, but you can also make like a little bag and put it under your pillow so that you're getting the aromatherapy
Right.
effects instead. Um, you can use mugwort in all sorts of ways, but look it up, see where you can get it from. Mugwort
Mhm.
will help you with your vivid dreams. Um, the other thing is she can come in through emotional intensity, life disruptions, supernatural phenomena. So if you astral travel, beware, you might meet Morrigan on the way.
Mhm.
You see a large raven watching you from somewhere. That could be the Morrigan, and she's when she guides an individual towards transformation, it's not subtle, it's not gentle. She kind of gives you a kick up the ass.
Right.
It shoves you in the right direction, whether you wish to go there or not. So, you know, is she evil or good? Yep.
Yeah.
She's powerful. She's
Yeah.
influential. So, death, war, fertility, cycles of life and death,
Mm.
the afterworld. I don't know. Pick one. Is it good or is it bad? I'm going to
Yeah.
say the answer is yes. Again, it's all perspective. Where are you in that? And what did you expect?
Right. That actually sets me off on the thought of so, as we've said, it's not what you think it is, but there's so many, like, how to word this? You have so much power and don't realize it. And it's the decisions you make with your power that either leave you vulnerable or reinforce you. And like Persephone said, that's a lot. Yeah, that was last episode. Like Persephone said, the door closes behind you when you make a choice. We are very much in that space, and people are choosing to be stuck.
And here's the thing, what
Right.
I'm getting very strongly is
Hmm.
you have to own it.
Yes.
If you're stuck, own it. If you're moving forward, own it. You make a decision, own it. Because sort of abdicating your power or pretending you don't have it, not acknowledging it, none of that is an excuse. And I think
Right.
that's something that I'd like people to take away with them about magic is there's no excuses. Like there truly is no excuse. Once you do a thing, you have to own it because you need that strong foundation of, yeah, I did that. I'm here and I'm
Hmm.
standing in it. And, you need to stand up and be counted.
Yes.
The goddesses are not interested in people trying to hide behind shields. This doesn't work.
Right. Yes, I've been getting that for the last couple of weeks. It's the you have to own it. Doesn't matter if you made a mistake. Learn your
Especially
lessons
then.
from it. If you have to make restitution, but don't shy away, don't hide from it. Own it, do what you need to do, learn what you need to learn from your mistake.
Mhm.
All those things. It's like it's not the time to shy away.
Mistakes give us some of our best lessons.
Right.
So when you make a mistake, try a different approach. Try being excited about your mistake. Okay, Elon Musk is a complete nut job,
Mm,
but
right.
when his SpaceX goes kablooey, that what is it, that rapid unscheduled disassembly that
Mm,
it does so often.
right.
When he first started launching SpaceX, I was intrigued by his approach to that because every time it blew up, and remember these things are unmanned, so or unwomaned, they
Hmm.
are so it's not harming a person, right? But every time they blew up, he'd get so excited and get his, note taker out and start figuring out, okay, what happened? Where did it go? What was that? And he'd get really excited about that. I think that was probably before the ketamine, but
Mm,
he had a great approach to mistakes, which was, that's so cool. What happened? Let me find out. And that enthusiasm was it was very cool. It was very infectious. I would not describe him as cool at this point, but he was once upon a time. He was an
right.
interesting person once upon a time, and he's taken a very unfortunate turn. Um, but mistakes, that's where the learning is. If you get
Well,
everything
yeah.
right, what do you learn?
That's what I was going to say. Don't look at it as mistakes. Look at it as opportunities that
Yeah,
have
but
presented
I mean,
themselves to you.
we're taught as kids mistakes are bad, right? Oh no, you failed your test. Oh no, you got that wrong. Oh,
Mm,
that was a mistake. Oh, this is, and we're kind of molded by the fear of making a mistake. And it's
right.
100% wrong. It's exactly what not to do, right? It's absolutely what not to do. As a species with parenting skills, we've done a piss
Mm,
poor job for generations, many, many generations, doing exactly the wrong things. If you want to reinforce a behavior, give in. How many parents give in to a tantrum? All of them, right? At some point, you're going to give in. And that reinforces the behavior that you don't like. It's mistakes. That's where the learning is. So, what do we tell kids not to do? Don't make mistakes. It's
right.
like, oh my God. And then, worse, as they get older, as they hit teenage years, we try and tell them everything that they need to do so that they cannot make mistakes.
Mm,
They have to follow your orders, right? And for the parents to do that, hey, you know what? If they don't exercise that muscle, it atrophies. They have to learn how to make mistakes and by making
right.
decisions. So, as a species, we've gone entirely in the wrong direction, almost completely. It's almost like something planned it. Instead of staying with nature and being in nature, what did we do? We went full on, balls to the wall artificial, right? Like we
Right.
totally went, let's make everything plastic. Why? What? Wow. How did we do that? We took an energy exchange, which is money to give to someone in exchange for something, and we put all the emphasis on the money itself and not the
Hmm.
exchange.
Right.
Well, now we don't understand money anymore because money is simply an energy exchange. If you're a coach, for example, because both of us are, right?
Yeah.
If you're a coach and people keep wanting freebies from you for things, or you try and give it the price of something at a really low level because you're thinking, oh, they can't afford it, then what happens is you get stuck because your energy is not flowing properly. It has to be an exchange. So even if that person does a service for you, you do a service for them, that's an energy exchange. Money's just one of those things.
Right.
But we've put it in this weird place so that we don't know how to exchange it anymore. And you can tell if you're off because you'll have resentment
Hmm.
and you'll feel off. It won't work. And the thing you're trying to do won't flow because you blocked your damned energy, right? You literally misunderstood what the money was for. Money is simply an exchange, and we've messed it up and we've made it a god. It's a
Yeah.
terrible god. It's an awful god. It has no soul. You can't make it into a god, right? And yet we've tried to
Right.
do that. So, number of things are coming up right now very strongly as to why we're in such a mess. And it's not a self-flagellation thing, but it's literally, okay, these are the things you need to look at. What can you address for you? Like if the listener changes their approach to mistakes, in air quotes, and if you can change your thinking around money, what's money? Why is it so terrible if somebody has a lot of it and yet you want a lot of it?
Hmm.
What's that all about? Like it's an exchange. So what do you have to exchange for it? And time for money is a terrible equation. It's awful. It's a draining equation. So if you can take away from this, think about money as an energy. Now, what are you doing with it? Think about your time as an energy. Because when you spend your time, that currency's gone.
Right.
Money is artificial, it's created, you can get it back. But when you spend your energy, you better be spending it where you want it to be. Because that has to count. You're not getting that back. You're done
Yeah.
now, right? So all of this is coming. I'm just channeling this stuff, but the thing about money is really important for the listener to understand. So the billionaires who are grabbing more and more of it, they're lost too. They've completely lost the point and they're in a negative spiral. They're just okay, they have all the things that money can buy, but they're not doing anything good with it. Their energy
Right.
is dark, right? It's polluted kind of dark. It's not a nighttime dark, it's a pollution dark.
Hmm.
Think oil slick, right? That's where they are. They're not getting anything good out of that. They're not living fulfilling lives, and they're certainly not going to enjoy it when they go to their Akashic records and check out what they did. Um,
Right.
that's not going to go well.
Right. All right. Bad joke of the day. So Akashic records, right? So
Yep,
Akasha means the sky. So the Akashic records are essentially the spiritual version of the cloud.
I love it. That's actually excellent. I love it. So the Akashic Records, again, for the listener that's
Yeah.
not heard of it before, this is it's like your soul library. Um, it's literally the place where everybody goes when they are no longer on this planet or on another planet, wherever they are. It's your home point, if you will. And the records of everything you've ever done in the history of ever as a soul, wherever you've been incarnated, and what you need to still yet do is all there in the records. And you have soul contracts that you've arranged with people. So, some people you meet in life who do horrible things to you actually have a soul contract with you. And before you arrived here, you may well have agreed to that because it was teaching you something or it was giving you an opportunity to learn something that you needed to learn. Which is why if you take that and think about it, if it works for you, if it lands for you, it does for me. So if it lands for you, then it helps when you look at traumatic experiences in your life. Like I've mentioned before, I had an awful childhood. It was absolutely terrible. But I can look at it and say, okay, I got a lot of learning from that. And that's what I choose to focus on now. And maybe there was a soul contract there that needed to be dealt with. I don't know, but I'm just going to leave it where it is because it's had enough attention. Now I'm going to play with the learning.
Right.
So it robs it of the power that you gave it as a child when the thing happened. It's a process, but worth doing.
Right. Yes. So part of what I'm getting right now is to remind people that once you start a magical / spiritual practice, your view changes because the things you need to do it effectively, your view on things have to change. There's no morality applied to it. That's up to you what you do, but how you view it changes your connection to the world and it changes, well, it'll change your interaction with people because you're going to see that they're not seeing those things you're seeing. But because you've kind of crossed a threshold, you
Hmm.
can't go back to that.
Correct. As in fact, one of the things my husband says is you can't unscramble an egg.
Right.
That is exactly it. You can't change it back once you know it. And once you've experienced a thing and once you recognize it, any of those things, when you start with a magical practice, whatever it is, once that interaction gets going, you can't make like it wasn't there. You could try, maybe, but it's not going to go well for you because you're going against nature. You
Right.
can't pretend effectively that what you know you don't know. Like you just can't do it.
Right. It'll be easier to actually to just keep refining your craft than it is to try to go back to where you were before.
Right. And you just can't. Once you see a thing, that's it. You've got it and you can't pretend otherwise. Um yeah, it's so is there a cost to magic? There's another answer for you.
Mm.
That could be considered a cost.
Right.
It's just not if I strengthen your right hand, I'm gonna take your left.
Right.
Right? Like it's not that kind of thing. It's not
Yeah, you're
punitive.
not selling your soul to anybody. You're not.
Right. It's not a punitive
Yeah.
transactional thing. That is incorrect. It's not a rule book. That is also incorrect.
Right.
Uh, I mean, have one if you want one, but you might as well make the rules you like, right? Because
Right.
they're as good as anybody's. And that's another thing we've done as a species with the way parents have raised their children for many generations now. We have taught young and therefore become this. We will rely on other people's opinions and other people's information before we will rely on our own knowing. And you got to get rid of that shit if you're going to do some magical practice. You have to get rid of that. You got to clean that one out. That needs scrubbing. That's like, no. Because if you always need somebody else's input, what are you accepting? What are you bringing into
Right.
your energetic field? What's their motivation? You don't know. You could come across somebody. I know a few people in the witchcraft world who I love what they do, like what I see of it anyway, and I'm very interested in their perspectives. But would I take their word, any one of them, for how to do a thing? Not blindly, I wouldn't, no, because I have no idea what their motivation is. I know what I see, but that doesn't mean it's what it is.
Right.
So, you got to look within. With human design is all about looking within. It's how do you operate, not what did somebody else tell you.
Mm.
So that's an important thing to clear up.
Right. Well, that's the thing, right? Because like, so when you have I make the distinction. I say magical / spiritual because just a spiritual connection or spiritual practice is not the same thing as having the magical component put to it. There's different requirements when you add the magic to it.
Yeah. I mean, you can do
So,
either or
right.
both.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you can. just have a spiritual practice and not do any like and not do any magic, and that's perfectly fine. If that's for you, that's for you, right? And
Hmm?
you can have a spiritual practice and not communicate with spirits. It's a different it's a different thing.
You mean a magical practice?
You can have a spiritual practice without connecting to anything magical or connecting to any spirits.
Right.
It's just a different way of viewing the world.
Yeah.
But when you actually are active in the world, active in the spiritual world, that's different because then that's where the magic comes in. And then you're active in that world, and then you do interact with spirits. And then you need to do a whole bunch of different things other than just having the concept of those things exist. You're
You also
now
have
in
to be
that,
available.
right? You
You
have to
have
be
to be
available for,
available for it.
yeah. So, and that kind of requires you to look inwards because you
Hmm?
have to see how you connect to things and you have to have an idea of the flow of the forces around you. If you don't have that, magic is difficult. Not that you can't do magic, but
Hmm?
the consequences are even bigger because you're allowing a lot of stuff to be decided.
Yeah. And I've been discovering, so the
Mhm.
process I'm in right now with the client that I'm doing the witchcraft stuff with, interesting. She said to me, I'm not really into crystals that much. I couldn't tell you what they all do. But at the same time, what she does is she's very intuitive with crystals, and she will
Right,
know instinctively which one to pick up and have for that day if she's requiring one. And she has some Moldavite. Now, I don't know if you've come across Moldavite yet, but it is um, green glass from a meteor.
right.
It's, you don't come across it easily and you come across a lot of fakes. But the thing with Moldavite is it has serious energy. Like a number of people report feeling nauseous when they wear it.
Mm,
And you've got to be very sure that your energy is on point before you have that thing on your person because it's going to amplify and intensify. And it's like, it's a big deal. And she's describing to me beautifully all the aspects of Moldavite
mm,
and how she wore it one time and it was great. And another time she just touched it and was like, oh no. And as we were working through some of the crystals, I said to her, it's not that you don't work with crystals. You do. It's just that it's so natural. You're not thinking about it.
mm, right,
So recognition that actually, yes, you are a crystal person. You might not be able to say, "Oh, hey, here's bloodstone, and it's great for courage, strength, and resilience," which it is, by the way. But because you don't have that book learning, the
right.
here are all the qualities. Here's my encyclopedia. It doesn't mean anything overly much. I mean, typically, if you know all the attributes of any given crystal, maybe you're not really connected to the crystal
Mm,
because you've had to store it all up in your brain and not in your heart, right?
right,
But just knowing, hey, I need that green aventurine right now, and I'm not sure why, but I'm going to have that. Or that green rock, whatever the hell it's called. I need that thing. That's more and more intuitive and less conscious learning. So actually, that's a deep path for her.
right. Well, that's what I was going to say, right? Because we've mentioned this before on the podcast that just because a crystal or an herb or something like that is said to have these specific qualities, they're all still their own individual thing. And therefore, they
Mhm.
might have qualities that don't match what you know or what's been cataloged about them. And they may have less of that particular quality that they're supposed to have. Like it just depends, right? Because
Well, you'll interact differently.
right. And then there's how do you interact with it at that time, and then how does it
Mhm.
interact with you? And so you have, like I say, I always say, your connection to the flow is everything if you're going to have a
Yeah,
good magical practice, because when things are ebbing and flowing, you need to be able to pick that up. So you need to know when to stay away from something. You need to know when to use that thing
right. And
or
that's what
work
she
with
was
it.
doing
Right.
intuitively, but using her conscious brain
Mm,
had thought, oh, okay, that's not really a thing for me because I don't know what they're all called, right? She
right.
was applying sort of societal rules to a spiritual connection. and it doesn't
Right.
work that way. You can't label things that way. So it was great for me that I witnessed that in her, because I was like, okay, that's interesting,
Mm,
because she missed this natural connection, and now she's got it. Now she recognizes it. Ah, okay. Now the need to know the name of everything has gone away. Doesn't matter, because it never did matter. And now she can just literally go with, I want that one today. And frankly, you could go out into your backyard and pick up a rock, and maybe that's what you need today. Doesn't have to be a particular shiny color, right? Color isn't everything. It,
right.
it's 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 from the earth. It's a natural thing that has been here for many thousands of years. It has seen way more than you'll ever see. So, what is it stored? What energy is in there? What is it offering to you? It
Right.
could just be a garden rock, right? So, don't get too focused in on the labels and the shiny. It's not that important. It's your connection. Do you have one or
Right.
not? Right? Where is your connection?
That's
And that's in
absolutely
any
true.
of the things we do. Some people have cards and they look at them and they're like, yeah, not doing anything for me. Others, you just touch a card and you know which card is yours.
Mm,
The card will jump out at you sometimes. I love it when that happens.
mm,
When I have a card that just kind of falls on me, even though there was no reason for it to fall, I'm like, okay, all right, got you. And I get the message. Let me see what there is. Um, I love it when that happens. Does it have to follow, okay, I'm going to lay it out in this way and then it's going to look that way? No, it's a guideline, it's a suggestion. You can do that, or you
right.
can do what comes naturally to you. So, what I'm asking people to do is look for where you just have a thing you do without thinking about it.
Right.
That's you in flow. Where is that?
Well, I was going to say, right? So when someone gives you the advice of let go, we're not telling you to give up your power. We're telling you to get out of your way so your
Hmm.
power can manifest itself.
Yes. So again, it's not what it
Mm,
seems, because what we're saying is the opposite to that. It's
right.
not let go of your power, it's let go of all the shit that's hiding your power so that you can actually access it.
Right.
The
That actually, that,
stories.
yeah, I was gonna say that view, if you manage to adapt that view, your world will change. And not just yours, your interaction with other people's worlds will change.
Actually, I'm really glad you mentioned
Yeah.
that, because your interaction with others earlier on, when you said it, it was from your perspective of, oh no, no, I can't do that.
Right.
But think of the other person too, and be aware when we go back to magic and
Mm,
cost. Well, some people you might simply not want in your environment anymore, because their vibrational level, their flow, and yours
mhm,
were never simpatico. You just realize it now.
right.
And maybe your circle changes a bit. Okay, so be prepared.
Right.
This is a time of change. This is a time of bonds breaking and renewing and changing and all the things. So is that a cost? Well, it's kind of inevitable. So does it count? Like, it's going to happen one
Well,
way or another. Do you want to be at the helm, or at the back end of it?
right. You're the captain of your ship, even though you're not the captain of the ocean. You're still the captain of your ship, and you can still get very far, and you can still do a lot of things as captain of your own ship. But yeah, like, but that's what I mean by cost, right? Like, how do you? It's really your interpretation of the situation. If you're shedding people who can't grow with you, or at least won't accept your growth, are you paying a cost, or are you being freed? Is it an added bonus?
Perception. It's perception, right?
Right.
Because if you can see what's happening, if you can see that there is a reason that this person is no longer going to be in your environment, or that you simply can't connect with them anymore, it's not a loss, it's a change,
Right.
right? And this is the whole thing that we've been saying for, I don't know, probably 5 episodes at least
Mm,
of, not episodes, seasons at least of, well, it has to break to change. And
hmm
destruction in order to rebuild and regrow.
Right.
This is that happening, right? And you don't stay with the same friends you had when you were 2 years old for the most part, right? We grow and we change. People come, people go. They
Right.
bring certain things to you. You give certain things to them, good or bad. And, there's a flow, there's a change. So if you find that happening a bit faster or a bit bigger than you're used to,
Mm,
then maybe that's because your vibration is shifting and you cannot connect with those people anymore. It's not a bad thing, even
right.
though it may feel uncomfortable, especially if you're not prepared for it, which is why we're telling you now so you can be prepared.
Right. Well, that reminds me, and before I lose the thought. So that's the thing, right? Uh, right now, we're in a time where the decisions you make have very serious consequences and very reactive consequences. I don't know if that's the best way to word that, but whatever. So everything you decide to stand for or not stand for is going to open up the next opportunities.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
if you're not honest about what you want, well, the opportunities presented to you aren't going to help you. And you got to do that much more work to get back to where you
right.
need to go or to get to where you need to go. You can't go back, but you have to find a path forward to the back to the path you need.
Yeah. And let go of needing to know what that looks like.
Right.
Just take a step and the next step will show itself, right? Like just don't worry about the big picture. Just focus on you and be clear about what am I here for? What
Mm,
do I want to be known for? What do I want to what Okay, I don't love the word legacy. I think it's overused and it's misused, but let's play
right.
with it for a second. For me, what your legacy means is what difference do you make on the planet? Right? Jane Goodall, who just died,
Right.
said, she famously said, look, you can't escape making an impact every day of your life. What you can do is choose what that is. And to me, that path that you're on is, if you will, your legacy, but it's what people will remember about you or not, right? Like they may forget you
Mm-hmm.
altogether if that's where you put yourself. But what impact do you make so that you can help other people on their path or redirect them or what? Like, so when you're choosing, you're not just choosing for you, you're choosing for
Right.
the people around you. It's important that the ones that are on the right vibrational level are the ones that are hanging out with you. Like guilt and
Right.
shame is the lowest vibrational level you can be at. It's so stuck, it's not funny. It's like the dirtiest, oldest engine grease ever. You just ew, yuck. Right? There's nothing good there. Nasty, nasty, nasty. And if you're stuck in fear, it's pretty much the same level, right? So how do you get unstuck from that? Well, it's a lot of introspection. There's a lot of um, work to be done with different perspectives, right? Like the thing you're afraid of, well, it didn't happen yet because if it did, you wouldn't be afraid of it. You'd be dealing with it.
Right.
So, what else could it mean? What else could it be? What are the possibilities? And what's the worst thing that happens if that thing comes true? Like all these different perspectives. And if all else fails, in Buddhism, there's impermanence. None of us are here forever. One
Right.
day you will die. And that's not a, oh my God, that's miserable. It's more a case of, in other words, one day none of this shit's gonna matter. So what do you want to play with right now? Because it's all an illusion. So what do you want to
Right.
play with?
Absolutely.
We are
Yep.
going in a lot of directions today. Can you feel the chaos coming through?
Yeah, but it's needed. I've been feeling it for the last couple of weeks. Those wordings, like that, those ideas have been swimming around, flying around my head, whatever. Because it's true, like, but once you cross over that, once you pass that threshold, the world's not the same. It is the end of your world as you know it.
Yeah, that's such a cool thing. I mean,
Right. And
it's
it's a good
not
thing.
necessarily comfortable unless you embrace it, then it's
Right.
really a lot better. Just dive right in. Go for it. It's that, and you know what? People will come to you who are now on that vibrational level.
Right.
So, for example, when I first started doing the podcast with you, I, prior to you sort of looking for someone to
Mm.
join you, you weren't in a space where you were looking for anyone, right? And
Right.
then a vibrational level shifted a little bit, and you were like, oh, okay, now I need something different.
Right.
And I seem to be the right vibration to do that. And we've been doing it ever since, which is, you
Right.
know, it's a fun spot in the week for me, no matter what the chaos is. So, those kind of things happen. Whereas if neither of us were doing what we're doing, the match wouldn't have been there.
Right.
And so we wouldn't be having these discussions. That's just a real-time example.
Well, yeah, because to remind the listeners, like I might have only known you for a week, I think, when you agreed to, I think you were on a call for WildFit stuff. And then
Mhm.
I think I put the thing out, and then like either a week or two, like when you started coaching, because I started coaching WildFit before Michaela, and maybe a week or two of her starting her coaching there, that's when she decided to come on the podcast. So quite literally, when you put the offer out and it's time.
Mhm. Yeah. And someone else I do a lot of spiritual work
Right.
with. She's very amazingly attuned to the Akashic records. Like, wow. Just really, it's almost like she's there. Um, but we literally met in a masterclass,
Right.
and she went on live to talk about something, and I can't even remember what she said, but she was about two sentences in, and I sat bolt upright and I was like, oh, whoa, okay,
Right.
huh. We have to connect. And we connected, and we've been connected ever since, which is at least 3 years.
Right.
And we talk every week for at least a couple of hours. And we do a lot of work together too. There's a lot of shifts happening. But it was an instant recognition of, oh wow, and here she is from Lithuania, right?
Mm.
But I'm just so we don't have culturally, we don't have a whole heap going on that's in common, and yet that's never ever an issue, ever. It's not a problem. So, again, that vibrational level was there, and I recognized instantly. And once I contacted her, she recognized
Mm.
instantly, and off we went. So those kind of things start to happen when you're working on how you show up, and when you're working on your magical practice and
Right.
your connection to your flow. Once you got your flow moving even a little bit, things start to change.
Yeah. And I think that's that.
Okay.
That's what I'm getting. Because Lord of Crows stepped out. Morrigan's like patting me on the head. So
I have two things left to offer.
go ahead.
One is crystals. We mentioned them earlier.
Right.
And the Morrigan would like you to understand. She has a number of crystals associated with her, but black obsidian is
Right.
notable. It's used for protection, to create a sacred space, and to shield your energy during rituals. I think this one is actually for you, Daniel, but black obsidian. The second thing is black tourmaline, and that's highly protective, wards off negative energy, and again provides divine protection. So
Right.
black obsidian, black tourmaline. These are ones that you should keep close to you, whichever one you're feeling that day. But that's gonna help cleanse your energy and keep it safe.
All right. Black obsidian, black tourmaline.
Mhm.
Got it. She's still patting me on the head.
Well, that's better than smacking you up it. So
This
okay,
is true. This is true.
accept that.
I am. I have. The black tourmaline. I wrote down, so I'm good. Got the
Hmm.
yeah. There's probably I should probably build some kind of defenses going forward.
Oh, and so most people have heard of, I have a few witchy things to tell you.
Go
So
ahead.
most people have heard, create a circle of salt, or you do the pentagram and you're in the middle of that.
Right.
The purpose of it is protection, right? It's so
hmm
that no harm can come to you while you're within that. Some people will put this as a line in front of their front door and their back door, again for protection. If you're
Right.
going to do that, though, and I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but it bears mentioning again, please don't use salt. The salt does not need to go in the earth. Salting the earth means nothing
Mhm.
grows, not just negative. But
Right.
eggshells, chicken eggs, duck eggs, turkey eggs,
hmm
whatever, dried eggshells ground up will do the same thing. They form a protective layer. So you can put a line in front of your front door, line in front of your back door, and have a protection spell that you want to say. It can be whatever flows naturally to you, but you want to seal in some protection for good energies within your home, and anything negative stays the other side of the threshold. It
Right.
cannot come in. And it's a good practice to do before you start doing magical practices. It's if you've been doing them and you feel something's off, get yourself some sage, probably, depending on where you are. If you can get it, a bundle of sage, and you sage your house. Smells a bit like you've been smoking weed, but whatevs.
Mm.
Go through and sage the house so that you're cleansing those negative energies, and then put your layer of chicken egg shell
hmm
outside to keep your space clean. These things are required periodically. And when you buy
Right.
crystals, you might want to sage your crystal because you don't know who's touched it before. You don't know what their intention was. It has a history. You don't know what it is. So find a
That's
way to cleanse it. You could do it in the full moon, depending on the crystal, uh, moon water, which is basically water that you put out in the full moon and let it be blessed by it. Um, there's different ways to do it. Find yours.
right. All
Well, my
right.
dogs are about to start.
Mm. All right. I got a few. Yeah. No, I think we're good. I think that's where the episode stands.
Mhm.
All right. So once again, I'm Daniel Dubois.
I'm Michaela Gaffinstone.
Until next time.
Until next time.